This is a piece of maple burl. Came out of the same burl that I cut up that I gave Phil a piece from. Has that same little wedge shape. Well, Phil got real clever and set it up in a V-block and flattened it out and put a hole in there. I figured, well, I'm not proud, I'll just do what he did. I had to flatten this thing because the leg was so much longer on one side than the other, at least the way I wanted to do it, that I needed to get a place here to put the tailstock. And this is hard. Either that or I have an extremely dull drill bit. Let me get this mounted up and we'll start to round this into a shape. Well, I'm just going to work on this a little bit. It's really getting hot out here. Turn on it a little bit, see how it works. It's not real balanced. I got 550 RPMs, and I think those chips are going to be hard. Yeah, I don't really have a shape in mind. Okay, I'm liking this. Alright, I still have part of that wedge on there, but I'm going to incorporate that into the tenon and the base, so I don't think I'm going to lose too much height. Just need to blend this a little bit and try to get rid of that little flat left from the wedge it was on. Okay, I just re-established a center on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and blend the ridges out of this, and then I'll sand it, and then we'll get it flipped around. Okay, that's just right. So I'm going to go ahead and sand this, starting with 150 grit, and that probably will go ahead and work it up to 400. I'm not going to put the finish on it till I'm all through, though. Okay, I'll come back when it's flipped around and start hollowing it out. At 1500 RPMs. I'm going to use the hollowing tool here for just a little while I turn the corners, because all of a sudden it's going the other direction. I wanted to use this to get started. And back to the bowl gouge. It's really hard. I'm going to resharpen. Alright, let's see how this is going to cut. Okay, that's good all the way down to there. I think I will scrape this area now. Yeah, that's looking good. I was listening to the sound. This is what I'm looking for on the wall, and I could hear that this was thicker. Kind of like tuning a guitar. See, I got the same thickness there, and it's pretty accurate. So that's looking pretty good. Got that big chunk right here, and I need to establish where the bottom is. I have my tool rest pretty much perpendicular with the bed. I can come out here and I can look down by holding it in the same spot. And I see I have a long ways to go. But I can see that there as well. So I'm going to get rid of it until it's flat to there, and then we'll measure it again. That's getting pretty close. Looks like I'm about 3/8 from the bottom. So now I'll just clean it up. Maybe we'll end up around 1/4. As long as I don't take very much out of the middle there, it'll all be good. Need to scrape from here to the bottom. Hopefully it comes out ready to sand. Okay, we are ready to sand. All of the material's gone out of here. It might be easier to get these little sharp points. I'm going to start with 80 grit on the inside here, just in case there's any ridges that I haven't got, but it feels pretty good. I'll get that sanded up and I'll come back and show you getting the sanding sealer on so you can watch the grain transform. It always does. When you put your first coat of sealer on there, you're either totally amazed or possibly disappointed. I think we're going to be pretty happy with this. I'll be sanding with my 2-inch. I'll probably even use some of the finer grits that I have by hand, but it'll take a while, but this is what I'll be doing. It does sand pretty easily, so that shouldn't take too long. Well, I had this little burl sanded up to 1,000 grit, and now I'm going to put some sanding sealer on it. I'm going to use shellac-based sanding sealer because I'm planning on finishing it with shellac, and that is going to be pretty. So I'll probably, looks to me the way it's going in there, I might end up with 3 coats of sealer on it, and I'll still have to do the inside, so I'll do all of that, get the finish on it, and we'll come back and get the tenon on it and have a good look at this. So I'll see you a little later. Well, I'm ready to remove the tenon from this little Burl Bowl. So I'm going to use my little block here, some non-slip cloth. Bring up the tailstock. See how it runs. It's not too bad. I might just adjust it a little bit, sometimes move it a little bit and it runs better, sometimes it runs worse. It runs about the same. Alright, let's start out with a 3/8 bowl gouge and remove most of it. We'll start out about 600 RPMs. Alright, I've switched to the spindle gouge. I'm going to go ahead and put a small recess in the middle and make sure it sits flat. I can't go very much, it's already pretty thin on the bottom. I sanded everything I could reach up to 400 grit with the lathe in reverse. So I'll sand the center area with the 2-inch disc. So now it's removing this little nub that's on here. I'm going to cut a little bit more away. So I don't do this every time, but Phil has a nifty way of doing this. You get it down about 200, and then you hold your gouge with one hand and your other hand sitting on the stop button and keep pressure against the bottom here. And like Phil says, when that stops turning, you're done. Like that. That wasn't perfect, but it did work. And I will not do that on something with a really wild edge. So now I just have a little bit to sand off here. Well, here's the little natural edge maple burl bowl. It has all these spikes running around the edge, and I dubbed them off. It's not sharp at all, and I think it really adds a lot of interest to it. Right here, it doesn't have any spikes, and it's a really interesting wavy effect that it has. I think it's perfect on there. I sanded this bowl to 1,000 grit, even though I could have stopped at 400 and it was probably plenty enough. But it was such a small bowl, it was easy to do. I went ahead and did it. I finished it with shellac, and then I used my abrasive paste followed by the polishing paste, and I think I got a pretty nice finish on it. I didn't put nearly as much shellac as I have done in the past, but I think this looks just great. You can really see the features in the bottom here. I'm going to try to rotate this slower. I noticed that I kind of spin things a little bit fast. Look at that. It's so much different than the last maple burl I turned. Just really spectacular. It has these little kind of like eyeballs in there. I like it. So the bottom is much darker. I didn't sand that up to 1,000. I think I stopped at maybe 400. That was plenty smooth. And I finished it with Howard feed and wax on here. I think that works great for the bottom, especially if I've gone all around here and shellacked this up real nice, and it avoids the complications of letting something spill over and eating into your finish. So I tend to do that. I'm really happy with this burl. I think it's beautiful. I hope you enjoyed watching me make it. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And a special thanks to all my subscribers. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. If you're new to my channel and you feel so inclined, please consider subscribing. Thanks again, and until the next time, I'll see you later.